New Ideas in Goal Setting by Alan Fashion. Years of goal-setting advice was wrong. For decades, the dominant view on goal setting was that you must fill your spare time doing as many activities as possible. This article says that this view is mistaken. It says how it is mistaken. And it offers some better methods of doing goal setting. Reasons the old view of goal setting is mistaken. Health and safety advice. Health and safety advice has been around for centuries in one form or another. It is recognized that not working long hours, taking breaks, being able to eat and drink in breaks, having adequate ventilation and a clean ergonomic working environment makes workers more productive, happier in their jobs and gives them better social skills, a better home life and a better life outside of work. Also, it is better for their health. Computers are more interesting. In your spare time, it is more interesting to go on a computer, create things and post them online or to choose videos than it is to do any exercise, tidy up or go to bed. Time management success. If time management really succeeded for you, then in a few years you could be bored with everything offered as casual entertainment. There really are a finite number of things to read about or TV shows to see. And this is no matter how wonderful our world is. In a few years, you could know all the plots of novels. Then, you would not want to read another novel ever again as you would find them boring. As well, you could see all the films that there are which are any different from each other. And you could watch all the TV documentaries about ancient mysteries, the natural world or anything else if you were to watch a lot of them over a short time, the same as if you had watched them for a lifetime but not as often. Then you will be bored to watch anymore and have nothing to do. Nor is there necessarily something else you can always do. This is once you're bored already. So save some for later. Alternatively, you will have to veg out and forget them all and then you can watch them all again. Perhaps, you could even use your computer to do hobbies and creative arts and then you might have forgotten it that way. Talk. You can't talk about all you've done if you've done a lot. This might be because time management has actually worked for you. People might not accept it if you were to say too much about too many different things. For example, people only want to hear about 1 or 2 films you've seen, 1 or 2 books you've read and 1 or 2 documentaries you've seen as well. And they are likely only to want to discuss 1 or 2 items in the news. Nor can people even remember what you've said if you talk about more than 2 or 3 topics anyway. This might be only an hour later people can't even remember. And they might be able to remember nothing at all of what you've said if it was just a day later. Nor does it matter for how long you'd talked and nor how interestingly you thought that you'd done it. An exception is that people might remember it if you really did keep it short. Other people might work long hours or not as well have good time management in the spare time they do have. Also, they could have time-consuming hobbies. Examples of time-consuming hobbies are cookery, another hobby at home, going out walking in local parks or doing sports that can take a lot of time. Health and exercise regimes can also be very time-consuming. Still, whilst all these things can be a high priority for some people, it seems that they still do them. And they do not instead do as much reading, watching television or listening to radio as some other people. When you meet people who are occupied but don't read much, you still don't want to show them up. This is just out of good manners. And they will not be your friends if you do show them up. This is such as you make them feel stupid, small or they worry about their never reading anything. As well, they will not be your friends for long if you spend a lot of time with them just talking about all your stuff you have to say and you don't talk about some of their stuff as well. Also, you should have some shared interests or activities that you both try to do. This is just so you can keep your friendship going in the long term. You might have a lot to say, but they don't. Nonetheless, they lead good lives. And they really do have a conversation about some things. You are wasting yours and their time if you don't let them talk back and nor talk about what they have to say about their own lives. They don't necessarily have the same goals as you do. And if they weren't talking to you, then they'd probably like to do some things the same as yours. As well, they could do them if they weren't spending time with you. This is when you've already done all the goals you want yourself, and, now with them, you just want to chat. They don't only want to chat, and they don't always do things that give them plenty to say. This is when they are not the same as you. Human bodies. If you have a computer in your home, then you need to follow all the health and safety advice usually given only to office workers. The basic health and safety advice for having a computer in a home or in an office is that it should be ergonomic. It should not be against a wall but facing the room or looking out a window, and the surface of your desk and the area around your desk and office chair should be kept clean. Nor should you eat at your desk. And you should have adequate heating. The lighting in a room should avoid screen glare, and you should be able to see easily your notes and any objects on your desk. You can only talk for 1 to 2 hours a day comfortably, because talking a lot is bad for oral and personal hygiene. As well, if you talk an awful lot generally for quite a few years, it can shorten your lifespan. Talking too much each day is bad for you. This is when using speech recognition, talking to friends, or talking into a portable sound recorder or into a sound recorder on your computer is just the same using of the voice. It is bad for your health, for personal hygiene, and as well oral hygiene. Change to sitting further away from your TV. Also, don't have your television in the corner of the room. If you have a small room, then you only need a small television. This is as you'll be able to see it anyway. Make your home pleasant to live in. It should be clean and you should have fresh air. Open a window. As well, don't have lots of boxes, things overflowing from drawers, or excessive amounts of furniture. These all obstruct cleaning. And they create more surfaces that need cleaning or create nooks and crannies that attract dust. Also, excessive amounts of furniture reduce the volume of air in a room and make it hard for fresh air to circulate. You can personalize your room with posters, art, and other things you want that don't take up too much space. Cleaning your windows so that they let in more light is a good tip as well. Also, arrange the books on your bookshelf neatly with books in height order. This way attracts the least dust. As well, any computer user should have a printer. It is more hygienic to print than reading the same copy more than once when it might have become grubby. A downside is it costs money. Also, it is better for your health to read from paper than from a screen. This is because of radiation, a more natural distance to read from, and other reasons. New tips for goal setting today. Try using speech recognition for at least some of the time to avoid too much typing. Typing is poor for hygiene and bad for your hands. But if you don't talk too long for other reasons, then speech recognition can take the strain off your hands and not be poor hygiene. Rough guidelines for how much you should do different things are given here. Guidelines. Don't type for more than 1 hour per day. And don't speak in total for more than 2 hours per day. Nor handwrite for more than 1 hour per day. And don't regularly handwrite for very long at all. This is the same for typing. As well, it's the same for speaking too much. Also, avoid too much screen time. Perhaps, don't have more than 4 hours per day television and not more than 1 or 2 hours per day computer time. If you only use a computer for a few hours per week, then there's probably no harm. At least, there is no harm compared to using it for about 35 hours a week that some people do. Compromises. Speech recognition or sound recording might have a significant effect on how long overall you spoke for. If you also had many friends and family that you visited, you talked a lot when in your job, or you talked about your job or your worries as well to friends, family and acquaintances. If you have used your computer quite a bit today already, you have used your computer a bit and watched a bit of TV, or you've watched a lot of just the TV, you should do something for the rest of the day other than sit in front of a screen. Also, if you tell yourself that you will allow yourself to use your computer and do hobbies and creative arts all day when you're going to be in all day, then you will probably be bored after 1 or 2 hours. And you will then most likely want to do something else like listen to the radio or read a book. Or you would feel quite content just to go back to bed or not do much. Otherwise, if you had said to start with that you would use it for only 1 or 2 hours, then you might use it all day feeling frustration that you had not got enough done yet before you stopped, or other frustrations. Follow all health advice you have to help you be healthier. Health advice is usually under the headings of hygiene, diet, exercise, sleep, medicine and supplements. Make things less complicated. Try these ideas. Don't go online except if you really want to. Nor use your computer to watch videos. Instead, just watch TV and video using a normal cable or satellite package on your television. You can use your computer only for hobbies and creative arts. Alternatively, you can use it for something that will give you value but not take very long each week to do. This might be downloading health advice or keeping charts of your weight or how much exercise you had done. Or it could also be something else that has a high value to you, such as budgeting to save for something or anything else with a high value. Alternatively, once you've used your computer less and had a break, you can go back to using it how you like. For example, you can go back to watching videos on it again. Or you can do anything else you'd like with one. As well, you can look up anything online that you'd like to. Don't have must-haves, ought to dos and should-haves. If you have many creative ideas, then take all the time you want to put them all down. After that, and once you've said all you want to say, you can stop doing so many hobbies and have more time for other things. Use your computer word processor to write plans and to make notes, and don't use a portable sound recorder, computer sound recorder or handwrite notes. This is because a computer word processor has editing features and you can print. It is easier to look back up the page to see what notes you've made than it would be with a sound recording to see what you had said previously. As well, it is neater than handwriting. And a printed page is less likely to get grubby than a handwritten page. Perhaps, you can use handwriting or sound recording to make notes that you then transfer to your word processor. If you handwrote or you used a sound recorder, you would have to rewrite or record them all again if you had done something wrong. You'd have to do them again when you can't edit well with these methods of making notes. And it is harder to produce a neat copy. Do things that work. This article has said that many ideas in goal setting that people take for granted might be wrong. And it has given some ideas to explain why current goal setting ideas might indeed be wrong. This is despite them being so commonly held. Instead, the simplest plan is probably better, and that probably means trying to do less with your time. This is when you want to make time for exercise, to keep your house clean and to do other essential things for your health and well-being. Some people don't do these things because they are busy on their computers or trying to do too much. So the basic principle is to prioritize beneficial things like exercise that would otherwise be boring. This also keeps it simple that many people are not doing already. You can't prioritize exercise or other healthy habits if you really could be doing things that are more interesting. That means you can't have a life full of interest, have lots of ambitions and have lots of hobbies. This is what the old methods of goal setting promised. Instead, you have to have some downtime. And at times you'll probably even feel bored. As well, it can be a major change in people's lives to change their goal setting and particularly the basic principles of it. For years, people didn't want to change. And this was despite being overweight, having poor social skills, being unhappy and achieving really very little. But it might help them if they changed now. When you can see how it won't work for you and particularly not in the long term, then you might be more motivated to start changing your goal setting to something that works better. The article has given new ideas in goal setting. The end.